Morning, everyone. This is Tristan, and you're watching Heroes and Homebrew. So, last week, season three, campaign three of Critical Role, episode 33, there was a situation where it looked like two or three characters may have died or were on the brink of death, and it was left a kind of a cliffhanger from there. I didn't watch the episode. I have I haven't watched Critical Role in a while, although I do like it. I enjoy it for what it is. But the reaction to this, to the idea that characters could die in Critical Role, seemed strange to me. Everyone was up in arms, like, "Oh, How could Matt Mercer do this? How could these characters die?" When the fact of the matter is, role playing games characters die. It's part of the game. To think that you're safe all the time and that nothing's going to happen is seems weird to me. Without the prospect of your character dying, then combat has no um, there's no like combat has no tension. It's just hitting hit points for hitting hit points. And without that tension, then there's no story. So why would why would your character always be safe? And I think this is a major problem with um, gaming in 5e right now is that you seem to start as a superhero and just go up to God instead of starting as a hero and then becoming a superhero, or starting as a nobody and becoming a superhero. So it just seems like strange that people would be so up in arms about characters dying. Now, part of this, of course, is that the fan base of Critical Role gets very attached to the characters because they're played very well by professional actors. And so they get attached to them like they would in any other TV show. And if a character in another TV show dies, you know, people are upset about it. But it's all part of the story. And I think there's a lot of players nowadays in 5e particularly, maybe Pathfinder, though I don't hear about Pathfinder as much. They seem to have this idea that their character will always live. And part of that is why I kind of stepped away from 5e is there was never any tension in the combat. It was just me trying to hit third, fourth level characters and them having an armor class of 25 because they've stacked and stacked and stacked all these abilities on top of each other and never got hit. Now, I'm not the kind of game master that's going out to kill my players. I don't want them to die, but I'm not going to prevent it from happening. I'm not going to fudge the rolls behind the screen just so that my characters stay safe and they don't die. At the same time, I don't have a problem doing things to NPCs that they love because that's all part of the story. It creates tension and drama. So I think there's a weird disconnect right now in gaming that you create your character and then that's it. You're good to go. You're never going to have to redo it. Whereas what I've been learning in the OSR is that it takes such a short amount of time to create your character, and often the dungeons and the adventures are so deadly that you might need to create two or three or four player characters to go through it, and it's standard. That's the way it is. You just go through your characters, and that way, the ones that do survive and make it up to that hero status, those are the characters you remember. Those are like the ones you talk about. Be like, oh yeah, I remember he survived this, and but when you start your character and it's already a superhero, there's it seems hollow to me. You know what I mean? So I don't know if the character survived in the show. It, the following episode only came out yesterday, I think. I'll find out. We'll see. I kind of hope that they died. I think it would be good for the show for them to, have lose characters like that. In season two, they lost a character very early on in the first, I think, 4 or 5 episodes. But then, like season one, season two, after other than that one character, like none of the characters ever died, and I kind of was always rooting for a character to die. I was like, okay, they get really close, low in hit points. I'm like, oh, maybe this is the time that someone's going to die. And no, they have their resurrection spells and revivify and all of this, and so it seems like a weird thing to be latching onto, and like people freaking out that a character's dying. Like, yeah, it's a role playing game. When I started playing role playing games, like you were going to probably die pretty quickly. But it seems now that the 5e that they give the players so many options to create such a powerful character that the expectation is that the character is never going to die, regardless of what they're facing. And the rule of having balanced fights so that the creatures that they're fighting are, you know, not more powerful than the characters is another problem. With a lot of the games in the OSR that I've been looking at, that balance doesn't exist. Like if you want to throw a dragon at first level characters, do it. They have to figure out a way to get around it or avoid the fight, or they're gonna die. And that kind of thinking in 5e doesn't seem to exist. Is you're gonna go in, you're gonna fight. There's no, oh, we're gonna have to get around this because this thing's way, way too powerful. Anyway, I just wanted to, you know, talk about that. It was something that was on my mind and wanted to put that out to you. What do you guys think? Do you think that the fan base in particular is, you know, justified in getting upset that the character's dying? Besides the fact that, like, more upset than it would in a regular TV show? Or do you think are you like me? Do you think it's as odd? Anyway, let me know in the comments. Have a good one, guys. I'll talk to you later.